Hi, it's Jones here. We're watching 911 Lone Star Season 5, Episode 6, Naked Truth. I adore this show. I was very sad it wasn't on last week, so I'm happy it's back this week. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go.
Let's do this.
All right, follow me.
Okay, so he is keeping the horse.
The secrets that you carry around create tension.
Of course.
Horses can sense these things. What is it?
We know.
In the back of a cop car.
Is there an officer there with you?
Yeah, but he's passed out.
Oh, Lord.
Went off the road.
Are you really helping a criminal escape a cop car? APD is less than 5 minutes away.
Yeah, you can die of smoke inhalation in less than that.
I mean, exactly. Like, the guy's dying.
My hands are in front of me.
Even if it's only a 50-50 chance if he's gonna help the cop, it's still 50-50.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
Okay, now twist the
There's
wires
also a
together
chance
and
this
try
man
to-
caused the crash in an attempt to escape, which would be very terrible, but Wyatt is doing the right thing.
Now go to the driver's side door and extract Officer Garcia. If it's locked, just
Oh,
break
he's
the
just
window,
fucking
okay?
off, isn't he?
Rudy?
He is just
Rudy, you there?
fucking off. Oh, he helped him.
Looks like a good Samaritan drags him out.
Thank
Good Samaritan
goodness.
in handcuffs.
Good one all the same.
I mean, even if he had just left the cop to die and fucked off, it's still the right thing to do to save his life in that situation. Like, he would then need to face whatever, when he was caught again, he'd need to face whatever consequences of leaving the cop to die, but like, it was the right thing to do regardless, but I'm very happy for Wyatt that that went well.
Now they're gonna be used to make Mateo's soon-to-be famous chicken Kiev.
I love a chicken Kiev.
Gotcha.
I don't think those are the breasts you meant to send.
Huh?
Oh no.
Need to go and delete this off of every phone in the firehouse before anyone else sees it.
I know you're embarrassed, okay?
You can
But we're all adults.
delete it from
right?
your end,
We're all
can't you?
familiar with the human. We gotta get these phones.
This is ridiculous.
And we insist,
You simply must let me
Yes.
repay, TK.
Nancy.
Hey,
This is so
That's right. You know what?
ridiculous.
I'm gonna need to check your. Tell you what, if I had guns like those, post those things in the grave.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Make sure you put on portrait.
Yeah. All right. And flags.
I love these idiots so much.
Turns.
You sent me some sex stuff by mistake, didn't you?
Yes. Thanks, Cap. You're the best.
We actually might be able to fancy.
Can I see you in my office, please?
Yeah.
So close.
Then what are you talking about?
Have you ever had a mammogram?
Oh no, did she see
I
something?
didn't notice the kitchen counter. Chances are it's just a cyst. Statistically speaking, you have very little to worry about.
Okay.
That is a good friend looking out for if you spot something, say something, and everyone should check the boobs, check everywhere.
Hey, Teo.
You sure it wasn't like a trick of the light or something?
You can,
I just checked in the locker.
yeah,
It's there. I have a family history with breast cancer.
and she does.
I mean, that sounds encouraging. You know how important that is.
Wow. So it's my fault that I have cancer?
He's just worried about you. He's not
I feel like
handling
I
this
keep on
well.
saying the wrong thing.
You do,
This is
sweetheart.
not your fault,
It isn't.
okay?
And hopefully it is nothing.
Do what?
Look at me like that. With pity.
He's just worried about you.
Yes, you are.
Yes, why did you leave? Sorry. I know why she left, but
I promised.
he's sleep
Promise
traumaing.
what?
He's sleep traumaing when his brother died.
What are you doing? What do you want? The sheets?
Dad?
This isn't good.
the sheets.
Cap!
Oh, hey,
Cap!
hey, Cap.
I'm sorry. I promised.
Okay, wake him up!
Hey,
Wake him up!
Oh, this is horrible.
Hey,
You
What?
need to talk to someone, Owen.
But if she doesn't want me there, how can I help?
I
Look,
mean,
maybe, for whatever reason, you're just not the person she needs to hear from
it's
right
really,
now.
that is definitely possibly true. At most, maybe when the shift's over, like, message her and, like, I'm gonna come over, I'll knock on the door, like, if you don't want me to come in, just yell at the door or ignore me and I'll go. Like, kind of, in case she kind of is wanting comfort but is afraid to ask for it, or, you know, like, has some weird spiral that you being there she'll need. But at the same time, yeah, also just make sure she knows you're there for her, basically, that you are there for whatever she needs, but then let her come to you.
Triggered or traumatized.
Yeah, I think the only person traumatized is you, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Well,
Advocating scenes with these two again.
I don't think it's anything to lose sleep over.
Except you are losing sleep.
Exactly. Talk to someone.
What was I saying? I'm sorry. I promised. You kept saying that over and over again.
I did?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean anything to you?
Is it what he said while his brother was dying? Because he promised him he'd help him, and when his brother was in pain or struggling in the end.
Mateo told you, didn't he?
I can neither confirm nor deny. If he did it because he didn't want you to be alone right now.
Exactly. You shouldn't be alone, sweetheart.
That sounds like him.
Start punching back. But life
It's okay to ask for help.
doesn't fight fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's best not to fight alone.
Exactly.
Mama, she was dead by Christmas.
So fast.
No. Those were the longest 2 months of my life.
I know.
And I feel bad for pushing Mateo away, but
You need to process however you
I have to
can.
see me.
Don't you think he's brave enough?
Exactly, my darling. He is. But she thinks
I know he
she's
is.
not.
It's me I'm worried about.
But if Mateo was going through something like this, you'd want him to have you there for him and not push you away to protect you. This is definitely a ask for help situation. Theme of the episode. Oh, and Nancy, ask for help. Let people help you. And the sim moment is happening.
An hour or two, give or take.
An hour or two.
Oh, that's not good.
Otto, is there someone that you'd like us to call for you?
Now? Why would I want to call somebody now?
Because you're dead.
I believe you're suffering from crush syndrome.
What does that mean exactly?
You have to ask for
It means
help.
that the
Don't be
pressure is
embarrassed.
compressing.
Would it? Would it be too weird to ask you to hold my hand?
No.
You could always ask for help. For someone to
Nancy,
be
how
there
far
with
full
you.
and clear.
What else?
She has the cutest crooked
It's
little
not gonna
smile.
go well, is it?
And
Otto, hey! Otto?
Starting compressions.
No,
we'll defibrillate. Nancy, get his t-shirt.
I didn't
Duke.
think that was gonna end
How
well.
you doing? Oh, good.
Is he gonna tell the horse about his trauma? I'd like him to tell a human about the trauma so the human can help him. Like, it doesn't have to be TK if he doesn't want to, like, burden his son with it or whatever, but he should tell someone. Judd.
Some work with my... And Lady Ann Richards.
What is that dog digging for? Something is gonna go wrong. This barn's being rebuilt, the dog keeps digging, like...
It's going to be peaceful.
It wasn't, was it?
Completely
That's why he was saying, I'm sorry, I promised, because he promised he'd let him go.
I need you to promise me that no matter what happens here, you will not lose your nerve. Even if I do. Promise me.
It was his choice, and I do believe people should have the right to make this choice, but... I mean, it's a complicated issue with coercion, worries and things, but I do believe it's a choice everyone should have in these circumstances, but Jesus Christ.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
They don't need to see this.
It's okay.
And that's what he was dreaming about.
I killed my own brother.
You fulfilled his last wish. That's what he wanted.
I thought it's not that ridiculous.
Is there a gas leak in here? Has the dog, like,
said that?
uncovered a pipe and made a gas leak happen?
What do you think? Too soon. Thunder.
Jesus Christ!
And why am I so right-headed?
Yeah, there's a gas leak going.
You of all people should. Duke helped carry you when he got back from town.
Where's Duke now?
And he went to town to refill the tanks.
For the cutting torch.
Stop him.
Oh god, it'll explode, won't it?
Where's the gas shut off?
Well, Thunder's gonna be freaking even more traumatized.
Come on, we gotta get out of here!
I know you're scared, Thunder. You need to go.
No, he said not to let...
Okay, they went out the back of the barn, right? Oh no, he just survived. That's good.
What I'd really like is a hand.
Of course, baby. Always.
I'm sorry I let...
I'd figure that it'd be hard to pity your bald head if...
I think we're jumping a little ahead here.
That is the sweetest thing anyone has ever said.
It's very Mateo.
I mean, I love you, Nancy.
And now that is.
Please just be something, a benign cyst.
What's the doctor?
It's gonna be all right now, because of you.
I do feel like I would like Owen to talk about it to somebody.
You know,
But
I
I
called a friend out in
suppose
Johnson City. I told her about Thunder.
he's worried about
She'd be happy to stable him.
how
I was actually
anyone else would respond.
thinking of keeping him. So they say it takes the average Amish community 10 to 12 hours to raise a barn. For us,
I'm not sure I would trust the construction of this barn. Like, I love them, and I think they are capable, but like, seriously? I really love this family.
Nancy, hi. Hi.
Good news by that face.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But at this point, I'm worried that it's going to be like switch. Like, you know, sometimes when you have like, oh, one person is really worried that they've got whatever a medical problem it is, so someone else gets tested with them, and then the person that was worried doesn't have the thing, and the person that wasn't worried does. So if that is the case, at least they would find it super, super early with Tommy.
She said that the lump in my breast was a macrocyst.
Macrocyst. So not a tumor.
No.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so extraordinarily happy for you.
Don't cry.
This was a scary
It's all good
episode.
now.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Is it not good for Tommy?
I was on a call earlier with my doctor about my mammogram.
Exactly what I was saying. This is what they always do.
And what did she say?
It's bad.
Okay, but how bad?
It's bad, Nancy.
I mean, thank God she got checked. This is why everyone should get checked. But no one should be alone. I don't think we need the kind of upbeat, like, doo-doo-doo at the end of that. Thank you very much. Okay, this episode was insane. I will start with Nancy and Tommy because that's how we left it. A very important episode. I mean, I know lots of shows have cancer storylines in general, but it is important to check and to, you know your own body and to check if anything's different. And, you know, I love Tommy for seeing the picture and then noticing something was off and telling Nancy, because that can be terrifying to do in a way, because it was nothing for Nancy. Now, it does also, like, it's good for her to know that that's what's there, and it's good for her to know that she's got tense breasts and needs regular scans or whatever, but it's really important to be there for someone when they're going through it. And I think they handled it very realistically with Mateo desperately trying to be supportive and to do the right thing, but kind of not getting it 100% right, because in that moment, nothing he said would have been right to Nancy, because Nancy was spiraling in her own head. And then for Nancy to be spiraling, because, you know, the minute Tommy was like, you don't have to worry unless you have a history, and I was thinking, well, she probably has a history. Because as someone whose family have a history of breast cancer, it is terrifying. Now, touch wood, both my mum and my nan had it, and they both survived it and lived to be cancer free. But it is frightening to think about that. And you know, and though for Nancy to have realized that she's lost people to it, absolutely terrifying. And I know I am someone who has extreme medical anxiety. The thought of getting any kind of medical test where you have to like take your clothes off or whatever, like I absolutely like almost like will like I can't do it. I know I have to, but like it's not worth your embarrassment dying over, but like so I get that for me that is an incredibly difficult thing to deal with, and this episode kind of was making me think a lot about that. But it is important to regularly check things. It's important to, if you notice anything you're not sure about, go and get it checked out. Obviously in America, if you don't have insurance, that can be really hard to do. And with the way the Tories are running things here, that's going to be hard for us to do in the future too. But it is important to look after yourself. And, you know, Tommy, maybe when she said, oh, I'm a bit overdue for a mammogram, maybe she meant that. Maybe she actually hasn't been having them. And it's freaking lucky she did, because whatever it is, they will find it. And they have found it, and they will deal with it, and we will deal with it, because it's terrifying no matter what. And, you know, I want them to have immediately told me what was happening, what stage it was, what stage they think it is, because is it that, like, it's been there for a while? And because my hope was, when I was saying that I had a suspicion that they were going to do something like this, because a lot of shows do that with the whole, like, medical concern, and someone is, I'll be supportive, I'll get the test with you, and then they're the one that has the problem. I was hoping that it would be a good thing, because Tommy would be found soon, early in the process. You know, they would find that she had this problem sooner rather than later, and like the quicker you get a cancer diagnosis, or I mean, if it's bad, I'm assuming it's cancer, the better the chances of you being able to survive it, is my understanding. But her saying it's bad, now that could just be cancer in general is bad, whatever stage it is, however serious it is bad. It doesn't have to mean awful things, but I am fucking terrified because this show is not afraid to go to dark places. And this is the final season. They didn't 100% know it was the final season, but it's also a really short season. Like, we're halfway through at this point, more or less. And I don't think we have time for Tommy to go through an entire treatment program and come out the other end. So I'm very concerned. But I love that this episode did highlight the importance of getting checked, checking yourself, and also of asking for help and being okay to ask for help. And it can be hard. It can feel like you're burdening somebody else, or you don't want someone else to have those hard images of you. But there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And that person who loves you, yes, it's going to hurt them to watch you suffer, but that doesn't mean they don't want to do it. That doesn't mean that they don't want to be there for you every step of the way. Just like if Mateo were to have cancer, Nancy would have been there with him every step of the way. So my heart is breaking for Tommy, and it's even, I mean, even worse, like, because the girls have already lost their dad. So whatever traumas this is going to bring out, it's going to be even scarier because there isn't the other parent there to be the safety net, which obviously it doesn't make losing a parent any better if you have another parent, but it's one of those things where in Tommy's head, that's all she'll be thinking is, I'm going to leave my girls alone. They're going to be alone. I mean, they won't be, because she's going to be fine. And even if she gets hit by a bus tomorrow, they have a whole family around them, as well as like literal blood family. But I just can't imagine what Tommy is going through on her own. And I'm actually so thankful that Nancy was going over there to tell her good news, because then Tommy didn't have to be alone. I think hopefully once Tommy had kind of processed, she would have called someone, Nancy, Judd, whoever. And honestly, like, I know Grace cannot come back. I know that there is the reason for that. I wish that if it was contract issues, that they had just resolved them, whatever the problem is. But realistically, if Tommy is going to have a serious medical trauma, Grace would come back, because her family needs her. And you don't abandon people in need. But anyway, so I'm really worried for Tommy right now, and I'm so thankful she had Nancy there. And I'm stressed, very, very stressed for that. Then, and I think Laura was saying, I think they handled it beautiful. They handled it beautifully. Nancy not quite knowing what to do, Mateo struggling, Mateo figuring out a way to help her. Like, when he was like, I'm going to get someone else to help her, and rushed off, I was with Marjon. I was like, what is this boy going to do? Like, oh my God. But getting Tommy to go, getting her to be there was a good thing, because Nancy shouldn't be alone. And this particular procedure, this particular scare is something that, I mean, men can get breast cancer, but it is obviously something that women are far more aware of. So Nancy having Tommy right there with her is important. And now Tommy will have Nancy and everyone. But it's a scare, right? They're gonna do it's a scare. They're gonna be like, we think, it's not looking good. We need to do some further tests, because I think that's what they do. And then they'll do the further tests, and they'll be like, it's fine. Yeah, just take this one pill and you're better. Like, that's obviously what's going to happen, because I said so. But yeah, this episode was terrifying to watch, with how real it was and how real it felt. Yeah, we had like, I mean, the vending machine guy dying was absolutely heartbreaking, because it's so relatable in a way, to let being a bit embarrassed or ashamed stop you from asking for help, and you should never ever do that. Kind of other than that, and the barn burning down, we didn't really have any like ludicrous plot lines. Obviously, I mean, a man having a vending machine crash on him isn't like every day, but there weren't any kind of light-hearted rescues that we could go on. It was just very grounded in reality. And then Owen and his brother, I didn't need to see that. Like, I could imagine that that's similar, that something like that is what happened. And when we saw Owen sleepwalking and he walked over to Mateo and he was like holding him down, I was and saying, I'm sorry, I promised. I'm sorry, I promised. It was immediately like, he didn't just die peacefully, did he? Like, you had to help it happen. And I can't even imagine what that would be like. And it explains even more so why Owen has been struggling with this. I do wish he had told someone, like a human, who could be there for him. But at the same time, I understand why he hasn't, because it is a very scary thing to say. Like, I mean, it's one of like, who would you tell? Because I can see him, as much as I love his relationship with TK and as much as TK wants Owen to be able to share everything with him, I think Owen does not want to burden TK with anything else that the things TK's already been through. I think he wants to kind of keep his son's life as happy as possible and not give him any of this like family trauma burden. So I understand why, as much as I think TK would want to be there for Owen, Owen would not want to do that. I would assume maybe Judd, but then Judd is hyper religious and might not be okay with euthanasia. So that could make things weird and Judd might not take it well. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I think Judd is a bad person by any means, but I would be especially afraid of talking about something like that with someone who is very, very religious, because they might have religious reasons to be against it. I would probably say Tommy would be the person of the team I would tell, but then she's also, you know, sworn an oath to help people and to not do harm. And I mean, I don't know if paramedics take the Hippocratic Oath, but you know, like she's that's her job, and so she might not take it well as well. Like, I can completely understand why every single person you think of Owen should tell, there is a really good reason for him to not tell, because it could change things. And I don't know, like, if he were to tell a therapist, because Owen needs therapy, and I hope he is still in therapy, because he was before, and I hope he still is. Obviously, therapists have the thing of everything we say is confidential unless I think you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else, and that technically was hurting somebody else. Letting his brother die and making sure it happened did hurt him. So would the therapist have to report it to the police that his patient had confessed that? Now, I guess in a way it would come down to the discretion of the therapist. If the therapist thought, that's awful, euthanasia is like something I believe in, and as awful as it is, like, you did the right thing for your brother, I'll help you through this. But if the therapist is like, that is murder, like, I understand why he isn't telling any humans, but I think he needs to. But I hope reliving it in a way, letting it out, saying the words out loud, letting himself, it's similar to how in the, I don't think it was the pilot, but in like the early episodes of, maybe it was the pilot, but Judd's trauma over the explosion that killed the whole team, and he goes to the therapist, and the therapist is trying to get him to walk through, because he keeps having these flashbacks, he keeps having these nightmares and these trauma moments, and he's told, like, just go through the sequence of events of the evening, like, when it gets scary, when it gets sad, when the hard bit happens, just keep reliving it, keep going through it. And that it really helped Judd to take his mind the whole way through, even though it was fucking painful and awful. He went the whole way through the trauma until he got to the other side of it, and then that weight lifted, that tiniest amount, because he wasn't running from it anymore. His brain had been through the whole memory. It wasn't trapped in the cycle of reliving it. And so maybe Owen talking about it to a horse, sure, but talking about it, saying it, letting his mind replay the whole sequence of events all the way through from the beginning to their conclusion might also do a similar thing in helping him stop being trapped in that cycle of thinking about the darkness of it all. But yeah, his sleepwalking was terrifying. Like, it would be funny if he was, you know, not having trauma dreams. And I'm really glad we had one scene, but a scene with TK and Owen, like, TK, like, checking on his dad and talking to him about that stuff, because, like I said before, they were kind of one of the cornerstones of this show, was that relationship, and because things have moved on, TK's got a husband, like, I understand why they aren't in it together as much and don't have as many father-son moments, but I really enjoy their father-son moments most of the time, so I'm glad we got one. And yeah, incredibly traumatic, and something was going on in that barn. Something was wrong with that barn. And probably part of why Thunder was, like, not a happy little horse in there was because there was gas. I don't know, but I'm glad all the horses survived. I'm not entirely sure how Owen and Thunder survived, given that the barn, like, exploded a little bit and they were in the middle of it, but I guess they were in the middle of it and it exploded out. I mean, Owen is a firefighter. He would be able to think, like, that's probably the safest spot of the barn. It's about to go. I'll get there. Like, if anyone would be able to survive, it would be, like, a firefighter, but yes. I'm glad he's alive. I'm glad he's hopefully going to be doing a little bit better with that trauma, even if we had to relive it with him. I'm glad Nancy's going to be okay. I'm fucking terrified for Tommy. And I just want to give her the hugest hug, and I'm very glad Nancy was there to do that. So yeah, I'm going to be like waiting with bated breath until next week because I just need to know that Tommy's going to be okay. I love the show, but sometimes I hate it. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.